Hey guys, welcome back to another Closing Staff podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Distro, here for another awesome episode. To my right, sir, introduce yourself to the people.
This is Trade Hold. I am not as awesome.
Hey, he is our, yeah.
He is our yeah. I dig it.
He is our yeah. And then we have a special guest today, somebody that we've been wanting on the podcast for the longest time. He's here all the way from Midgard, or actually he's from the Pacific Ocean. He's been playing a lot of Man-Eater. We have Shrink. How you doing, man?
Does Man-Eater take place in the Pacific Ocean specifically? Shrink, you tell us.
You know what? I don't know.
Did you even pay attention? Did you actually?
I just play the game and eat things. Like that's all you really play the game for.
I just swim around and I eat man.
You eating Squirtles?
Yeah, we eat Squirtle.
While they're spritzing?
You're not playing that game for the story, right? You don't care where you are.
I kind of want to know the story, honestly. I mean, I know a little bit of the premise.
What's the plot? What's the setting? Who cares, right?
Yeah.
Well, the plot is revenge.
This is probably the best. This is probably the best shark game out there. I'm gonna say it right there.
If anybody wants to argue, come at me, bro.
Yeah. Is it anything like Jaws Unleashed? Because they compared it a lot.
To what?
To Jaws Unleashed on the PS2. Or have you ever played that one?
Nah, I haven't. So
I like how Shrink is like just racking his brain right now, just like what the hell is Trade Hold talking about?
I don't know what that other thing is.
You should have just said A firm. Just yes. Very similar.
This is
awesome. I like it.
Like I was saying, best shark game out there.
Yeah. And then we don't have Cashwrap here today. He's MIA.
Yeah, we had Cashwrap ghosting us today, but you know what? It's okay, especially with everything going on. We're busy. You know, we out here living.
Yep.
Just trying to do the best with our time. But we have an exciting episode today.
We are now on Spotify, and we have our own Podbean direct link.
So closingstaffpodcast.podbean.com.
Yep.
Check us out. You see everything that's on there, and we appreciate the support.
Yeah, eventually Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts, which is from Google Play. It's not Google Podcasts. Should update our new feed because I've re-edited all the old episodes to remove a lot of the white noise that I've heard about that has been communicated to me.
We have a bunch of different announcements that went through. Specifically, we're going to be talking Sony, going into that. I know Sega announced something too as well. They said they have something in the works that they're cooking up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm really excited, especially with the kind of the E3 season coming up too, because this is usually around the time where E3 would be coming. Yeah, but games start getting announced. The hype really starts getting brought up. But a lot of regarding those announcements too with Sony, they're actually going to be talking about the actual PS5 finally.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I know we haven't gotten your thoughts on it yet, Shrink. But how have you felt so far about what Sony's shown? Like the DualShock 5, like the specs, like what have been your impressions?
I'm ready, man. I'm ready for a new console, and just like you got that new controller. It doesn't look great, but hey,
I like it.
Start playing with it.
I like the controller. Dude.
You like it?
I do.
All right. To me. Like I don't want anything glowing. The problem with
I don't want anything glowing.
I'm not a fan.
When they showed the new, when you're talking about lights, or you're talking about just the different colors, the dual tone.
The color, the light, I just want the black one.
Well, that's what I'm saying. When they announced the upcoming stream, they showed a short video with the DualSense controller, and it was all black. So there's this theory that they may have just released it to check out what the reaction to it was, but there's also the possibility that they may have different multicolored controllers or different color controllers, so they might actually have an all black one already.
To Shrink's point though, I don't need this giant ass light bar on the front, or I don't need a bunch of flashy stuff.
I mean, there's only two lights.
No, I know. I'm talking more so like the PS4 controller, how the original, just you have this big old light bar. You just and you can quote unquote dim it, but does it really dim?
Yeah, and then if you're playing at night, it ruins the ambiance of a scary game or just a game in general, because it will reflect the light from your TV if you have one of those kind of setups.
How bright is your light? Because mine, when I play in the dark, I have my controller, on my lap. I don't ever see any of the light coming off of it. And I'm not just, we're talking about the DualShock right now, but even with Xbox One controllers, either way, I don't see the lights.
I say more so with the DualShock 4, there were times to Shrink's point where you see it and I'll be like, how do I can just like turn this thing off real quick. You know? Yeah, like how does
cover
like
this?
yeah, no, right, yeah, you know, pretty much like go down. So then when I saw the DualShock 5's design on it, like it's interesting kind of seeing exactly how they're going with like a bulkier controller, just changing the shape on it a little bit. But to Shrink's point too, like I would just appreciate just like an all black or just like dual tone or something like that, but with nothing too crazy fancy on there. Like just give me a controller. Something that's comfortable to hold, that's just going to do its functionality, and it's not going to lose battery based on like flare.
Yeah,
you know, just put something in my hands that I can forget that it's in my hands.
Yeah, right?
You know, immerse
that's
me
what
in the
she
game.
said.
put me in the game. Just put me in the game.
I like it.
Well, I mean,
I want that PS9.
You say that you know, put me in the game, but that light, at least for DualShock 4, is also functioning for VR, because and even before VR, they had the camera too. That's the thing. So I don't know whether there's an actual. I know there's the two lights on the side, on this one on the side of the touchpad, but I'm not too sure whether they actually said that there's going to be a light at the top. Did they?
From the pictures that I saw, it almost seems like there's those two little sliver lights at the top that kind of glow a little bit.
No, that's the side of the touch bar though, right? I mean the touchpad.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's as far as like the lights that I saw.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, did they confirm that there would be a light like at the top, like that triangle?
Or like, light, no, I don't think so. If anything, you know, I would hope that they would just do something where it's just black, you know, with the sensor in there, so that you can actually like read anything that's there.
Yeah.
I think like they're just trying to. The thing about Sony, and I appreciate, is they are really into like personalization and making it seem like very like it lights up, and you can change the colors and all this stuff, you know. But, you know, I feel like some of it's unnecessary if it really doesn't add any functionality. Yeah. Because, to be fair, the VR was sweet for the PS4, but I feel like not a lot of people were utilizing enough to
but
where like it made sense, you know? It's catching on.
I mean, and I say that because it's catching on because I believe that they said PS5 is backwards compatible for PS4 and VR.
Did they confirm PS2 or PS1 at all? Or like PS3 for PS5?
No, they didn't confirm that. That was a giant rumor.
Not that I have any of those games. It's not still unfortunate.
I mean, they haven't completely denied it from what I know, but they haven't confirmed it.
Because would it be too big of a stretch for them to include PS3? Be like, you know what, you can play your PS3 games, your PS4, and your PS5. It's not
a huge stretch, but from what I know, the reason why PS4 didn't do that is because the security systems they built around the PS3 that made it hard to develop for, and that's why, because they made it a little more open for devs this time around, for when the PS4 reads like the PS4 discs, but it doesn't bypass a lot of the securities that they put around for the PS3 games. That's as far as I know.
Okay.
And that's the simplest way of saying it because there's more complex architecture.
I thought it had to do with like the reader, like it required a different laser, like an extra laser or something like that.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. The extra laser is like bypassing security type of thing.
Well, my thing is like, is it really that hard to throw in just an extra little laser in there?
It probably costs more.
No, I'm just kidding.
Who does? Right?
Damn it, Sony, just give it to us, man.
I don't think it's a stretch at all, though, if they were to make it read PS1 games.
Yeah, you see, or at least some kind of, because I know at least a lot of people still have PS3 catalogs. You know, they still have this fat PS3. You know, like
still
stacks
Blu-ray.
of games.
I know.
You know, still Blu-ray and stuff too, and like a lot of people have just recently upgraded to the PS4.
Yeah.
Just because you know how a lot of people are usually a generation behind. They kind of like just catching on a little bit
recently,
before. You know,
recently?
Yeah, like exactly. I know, like
there's
recently.
Some people
like,
will still upgrade to PS3. Not a lot, but there's still some people.
Or more so to like the PS4 from the PS3.
And that's the thing too. That's another reason why I don't think they're gonna have PS3 backwards compatibility. Is because a lot of the games got remastered for PS4 and they were still Blu-ray. And if that was the case, they wouldn't even need to like bother with remastering those games. You're like, oh, you can just play your PS3 games.
That's fair. You know? But there are some cool PS3 collections as well. Yes, that would be sweet to bring over.
Give me freaking Dead Space remaster already. EA.
Yeah, right. Yeah, something like that. You know?
Jackasses.
I'm ready for a new IP. I'm ready for a new IP.
I mean, I am too. I'm just saying, from some of the older games, I want to play again because they've given us a lot already. You know, why not Dead Space?
Because EA murdered Visceral.
Yeah. Well, but you know,
can we get a siphon filter?
Well, Days Gone is something of a somewhat of a siphon filter sequel, kind of ish. It references a lot of siphon filters from the same team.
Shrink is like, but is it really? You know,
but that's not a new IP though. That's a reboot. or a sequel.
I would be super, super down with the Dead Space remake, like for Dead Space 1 and 2. Like 3 can, kind of sit on the side, but like...
I can understand that. I would like 3 to be on there personally. And then you can just decide not to play it. Yeah, you know what I mean?
But the whole thing about like 1 and 2...
just to have it?
Yeah, just to have it. I remember those graphics looking really, really good, but then going back, they hold up a little bit, but it's still kind of like, oh man, I can only imagine in 4K, like full-on brand new graphics,
I've played it on PC and it looks pretty good on PC.
Yeah, because that game was amazing. Like even those like the times where you're actually outside of the ship, like we have to spacewalk real quick, and you're like floating and there's like debris everywhere. You can see like the freaking sun. Like you see a whole bunch of different little things that I feel like they can actually make look beautiful on the PS4 or even the PS5.
Yeah.
So that's why. Why haven't they given?
Surprisingly, how come they haven't done an Infamous one?
Or an Infamous? Yeah, that's true too. There's a lot of their like Infamous or even like a Killzone. They haven't done anything with Killzone like really.
Well, Killzone has moved on.
Killzone's been dead for a while.
Yeah,
Killzone's been dead.
That's because they moved on. Yeah, Insomnia.
It was Guerrilla Games, wasn't it though?
Oh, was it Guerrilla?
Or I'm sorry, I'm not Killzone. No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking Resistance. That's the one I'm thinking of. No, not Killzone. I'm thinking Resistance. Yeah. Because I'm like, whatever happened to that IP? Like.
No, Resistance is...
Resistance?
Is that Insomniac?
It's coming to the PS5.
I think that one might be Insomniac.
Yeah, that was Insomniac. Yeah, Killzone's
Imagine if... I was like... I always get them mixed up for some reason. Yeah, but Killzone's dead, because freaking they're doing Horizon and everything.
Yeah, they're doing Horizon, which we talked about last time, that they probably will announce a sequel as a PS5 launch title.
I could see Resistance coming back. On PS5.
Well, the thing though, Resistance right now, because Insomniac is working on probably Spider-Man sequel. Yeah.
Ooh, give me that.
Yeah, well, because again, Shrink hasn't listened to our podcast.
Oh yeah, so for everybody listening, Shrink isn't a fan.
Yeah, but he's not. He's like, let those GameStop bastards die. Why they come back to me? Like off stream, he's like, I tried to get away, and then they came back. They keep pulling me back.
It's not like we worked in the same store, but okay. Yeah, but we were talking about how beforehand it was the age of kind of like remasters, remakes, like reimaginings. We feel like this next step is going to be the era of kind of like, or the next age of sequels.
Yeah. It's going to be major sequels.
We got like the freaking sequel to Spider-Man 2. We'll have the sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn. We'll have the sequel to the God of War. We'll have all these games coming out.
Yeah. I think
I still think it's going to be a remaster city.
No, it's still gonna be. There's always gonna be overlapping eras. You know what I mean? Like we're still in the era of remaster and remakes.
It's the circle
but it's
gonna
be like a start of a major sequel era where people are gonna jump on this, train of let's make a sequel to a game that hasn't had a sequel or people have been wanting to bring back, type of thing. Mm-hmm. And it's gonna be jump started by sequel of major games like again God of War, Horizon, Spider-Man. Where there was a rumor of 1886 getting a sequel. Mm-hmm. There's gonna be Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 probably by next year. Who knows?
I would think Breath of the Wild 2 would come out, and if there's enough pressure on Nintendo, probably next holiday.
Yeah. And then we haven't seen Infamous in a while. Is that dead, or maybe that could be actually jump? Yeah,
because Second Son did all right.
Yeah, I know,
but it did all right. When it first came out, it didn't really do that good, but when more people played it, the more it sold, and then it did okay.
Yeah. And then they haven't said anything for a while for Beyond Good and Evil 2. So.
Okay, that's true too, because they announced that, and they haven't really shown anything. Right?
Exactly. I forgot about that game.
So
that's what they want. Right?
I'm talking about when I say the starting an age of the sequel era, I'm talking about straight up a whole ton of sequels announced for end of 2020 to 2021.
We still have Overwatch 2.
Yep, Overwatch 2.
There's a bunch coming out right now, right?
Did they Overwatch 2? Did they? I guess they announced Diablo 2 remake though, as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what I heard. I haven't actually looked into that one, but I've heard about that.
I know Diablo 2 is one of those like cult favorites. Like a lot of people really love Diablo 3, but most of the time people talk about Diablo 2.
Same with Warcraft, not World of Warcraft.
Yeah, but straight Warcraft. Yeah,
Warcraft 2 I played a lot of. Yeah, and StarCraft 2 I think hasn't ended. So
StarCraft 2 is still going, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, think about that community. The Blizzard community goes hard.
Yeah.
For
sure.
Like if any expansion comes out or anything comes out, like they're all over it.
But a lot of people are actually seeing signs of Shenmue 4.
Shenmue 4?
Yeah.
Do you think that's Sega's big announcement? So
no.
so going back, onto topic as well too,
Well, yeah, actually, let's stay on Sony for a bit.
Yeah, let's stay on Sony for a second.
There's still more Sony because we're talking about remakes and remasters. Actually, have you guys seen Cory Balrog's like Twitter? He's made comments on like games he would want to remake. One of the games he mentioned was that he wanted to do a Chrono Trigger remake.
No.
Which would be sweet.
Ooh.
That would be sweet. But then he would do it his own way. You know what I mean? So it wouldn't be like Chrono Trigger, but just HD graphics.
Chrono Trigger remaster. They're gonna split it up into 3 games. Over 3 years.
No, Chrono Trigger's not the type of game.
Are they going to Final Fantasy 7 that thing?
Yeah, right.
But he also recently mentioned that he would love to do a Silent Hill remaster.
Oh, that'd be cool.
First one. Yeah.
Did you see that they're doing Silent Hill crossover with Dead by Daylight?
Yes.
They're adding
Heather and Pyramid Head.
Yeah, Pyramid Head's the new character, and then the new map is basically Silent Hill.
It's a school.
It's a school, right?
Yeah. What did they call Pyramid Head again? He's the executioner. Was that what they? No, I don't think that's his name.
Yeah, because they each want to have like the hunter, like whatever it might be.
Yeah, there's that. But then he has another name also in the Silent Hill like mythos, and they actually went with that name instead of calling him Pyramid Head.
Oh, okay.
And I forget what the name was. I should know this honestly, but I don't. I can't think of it right now.
Where's Cashwrap when we need him?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Shrink, you're supposed to be our fact checker.
That pyramid thing.
Is it Sankaku Atami?
No. It's like
Triangle Head.
No.
These are all the names that it's being referred to.
Just a type of Silent Hill and Dead by Daylight.
Are you on the wiki or what?
Yeah, this is the Pyramid Head wiki.
There we go. Yeah, but everyone's been jonesing for a new Silent Hill. Like, even Sony said teased it as, or there was a rumor, rather. They didn't tease it, but there was a rumor of it being a launch title for it, right?
Yeah, that's right. And then, this also going to be probably more remasters because, we were talking about the last episode, with the last recording. We talked about how Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, and not Tsushima. Not Sashimi. Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us Part 2. All these games will probably have their own PS5 counterpart.
Yeah, they'll have a launch basically. Like, if anything, they'll just straight do a Last of Us 5. Because did you see the announcement for their PS4, the Pro, The Last of Us 2?
Yeah.
They're doing a console. You think they'll do a Last of Us 2 PS5? They don't ever really do limited edition consoles right off the bat.
No, they really usually don't for launch. They usually don't. So, I don't know. I mean, Sony might be the first to do it. There's always the first for everything, right?
See, yeah. They said, though, so...
technically, Xbox did with Project Scorpio.
Yeah.
Yeah, the launch one.
That's true. I say, but if anything, the announcement is on the 4th of June, right?
Yeah.
And they said that they're going to announce games. Like, what do you think they're going to announce, Shrink? What have you been hoping for?
Man, a new Batman game. Can I get a new Batman game?
Right? There we go.
That's another thing too, Rocksteady. We've been saying for a while that we're hoping Rocksteady's new game will be a Spawn game.
They said they've been working on it for a while though. Like it's not a secret. They are working on it.
On what?
But is it ready? I don't know.
Yeah, right. Who knows? I say, are they working on a Spawn, or you say they're working on a Batman?
No, I want them to be working on Batman. I know there's people out there that want Spawn, but I want a new Batman game.
Yeah, right. No, I say Arkham Knight was actually pretty good. Like, I liked Arkham Knight a lot. The ending was very controversial, spoiler alerts, like the whole reveal and everything. But how do you carry that onto another Batman game? Do you just say, you know what, we're gonna just reboot it, just make another Batman series, or are you just gonna make Arkham something else?
Or no,
I don't know. I think they could do something.
Or do you pick it up as Nightwing?
Or like they could do there's a bunch of stories that they haven't really touched, right? There's a bunch of bad guys out there, so
Nightwing.
I don't know. I would do something with Court of Owls.
They're gonna start off with
because they tease that all the time.
Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, right. Would you be okay if it was like something with like Batfleck?
Batfleck? I'm okay with Batfleck.
Where they're using like Batfleck and they'll use like freaking Jared Leto's Joker and they'll use like just that universe kind of like aesthetic.
Man,
as opposed to like Mark Hamill and freaking,
as long as the core gameplay is still there, because that's what got me hooked. Like the way to just attack everybody and leave a whole battlefield of dead prisoners without getting touched. Like that.
That's such a grim way of putting it. Yeah, dead prisoners.
Batman doesn't kill anybody.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't. That's his principle.
That's the coolest way to do it.
That's the coolest way to do it. No, it's true. Like, especially taking on little forts and taking on Deadshot, you know? And, like, little things like that. Just, or freaking, I'm thinking of fucking Slade. You know, yeah. Like, when you're going through Slade. Yeah, he's going through, going through all his little freaking camps, you know? And, like, at the end, you get to fight him. And then, like, those games were really good.
The actual hand-to-hand combat with that guy was pretty fun.
Yeah, it was hella fun, you know?
Yeah.
So that's why, out of those games, though, I think Arkham City still stands as, like, freaking, probably the best one for me. I liked Arkham City a lot.
Yeah.
No. Definitely.
But Spawn.
But Spawn, yeah.
But Spawn.
What else, Shrink? We know you love Batman, man.
Yeah, okay, alright. So that's
give us the good stuff, man. Like,
I want them to hit me something with, like, out of the blue stuff. Like, I just want new IPs, man. Tell me something I don't know.
That's what I was talking about with Cashwrap and with Trade Hold 2. Is kind of like this. It seems like these generations now we don't have like new icons coming out. Like before, when the 360 and stuff, you know, you're just original Xbox. You had Chief coming out, Master Chief. You know.
Yeah, like who's this green guy?
Yeah,
like,
Marcus Phoenix. You know, like you have like these like pioneers coming out. You know, and especially with like Sony when Sony first started coming out, you had like Jack and Daxter. You had like Sly or freaking Sly Cooper. Yeah. Just basic mascots like this. Kratos. You know, freaking. You know, you're like this is Sony right here. You know.
Yeah.
But it feels like we're just still milking them. Like, if anything, the newest is like I hate that I forget her name, but the girl from like Horizon Zero Dawn.
Aloy.
Like freaking
Aloy.
Laura's Tomb Raider. Which one's Laura?
What the fuck? So Aloy, I know she's a new like kind of like a freaking.
Wait! Was that their?
It's the system. I think Nora's her little tracking system, right? Or no?
Oh no, you're talking about Nora? Did you say Nora? Nora's the tribe. Yeah.
Nora's the tribe.
Nora's the tribe. Okay.
I thought you said Laura. I'm like,
what, Croft?
Laura?
Yeah, I'm like, Laura. Yeah, you're thinking Tomb Raider. You're thinking of porn or something. I don't know what's going on right now.
Yeah, they'll probably have
La Ra.
Game.
Laura.
It's actually Lara, guys. Lara Croft.
Lara.
No, yeah, but you have Aloy as like a new person, like a new figure that's come out. You know, like she's been kind of like holding it down for Sony. Besides
they have because the thing is. They have the Soul series, which technically it's on both consoles.
But
you don't have like a singular mascot for the Soul series.
Yeah, you don't have like a synonymous like character.
And then on top of that, they had
you have like Solitaire, but he's not even really a character.
Well, I mean, this also for the longest time Solid Snake, because that was Sony exclusive for a while.
But then that was taken away from our icon hero. So it's like, do we just boycott that game now?
Well, I don't know. Like, we don't need to boycott anything.
Everyone's like, all right, now we have to go buy this Death Stranding game that we have no idea what it's about, but we're gonna get it because that's our boy.
Well, at the same time, now that you bring that up, though, Aloy isn't either because now that they're also on PC now, right? Yeah.
Bless you. I remember that was the big thing I'd always tell people about freaking Death Stranding when it was coming out, because I was hyped for it too, but I was just like, but what's the game about? And everyone's just like, no man, it's gonna be amazing. And I'm just like,
it's Hideo Kojima.
Yeah, no, so I was like, but are you just banking on our boy, or are you just like, I'm like, where's the gameplay at? Yeah, but that being said, I feel like Sony needs to come out this generation with like just some new IPs, some new characters that kind of like hit out.
Because like everyone, we talk about what games they might have a sequel for a remaster. Mm-hmm. We can't talk about what games they're gonna bring out that's new because we don't know anything about them.
Yeah, right. Something secret.
Is it an action game? Is it an RPG?
But that's what I would be excited for.
Yeah.
Too is Bungie's been working on a new IP too as well, completely separate. They got $100 million or something like that to develop a game, and they still have kept it completely under wraps. So I wouldn't be surprised if they were doing that for Sony, because Bungie has like a good reputation or they have a contract through Sony rather. They do exclusives with them. So I would imagine if Bungie comes out the freaking cuts with just like, hey, here's our new game.
Everyone's thinking it's going to be Destiny 3. I think it's a little early for Destiny 3, but it's possible.
I think it's early for Destiny 3, but it is still possible.
Because the reason is, I believe when they were working with Microsoft, or not Microsoft, Activision. They were having even though it would be like a 10-year thing with Destiny,
it
was
like
3 years that they were release a new Destiny. Mm-hmm. And so there's some theories that saying no, it's too early since now that Bungie has separated from Activision.
You know what? I think this is probably the prime time.
No, at the same time, because I was going to say at the same time, they probably were, while they were still working with Activision, they probably were still already working on Destiny 3.
Yeah.
So that might be also something else that's like, you know what, pour everything into Destiny 3 and make it a giant launch, you know.
So, yeah, I can see that. You know, yeah, right? Because even with Destiny, it's like, it's one of those games where people just trash talk it, but then it just still has such a big community.
Yeah.
Like, they don't stop playing it. Yeah.
They don't stop playing it. It's like, kind of like I tell people, it's like that girlfriend that you go to work and you're just like, yeah, you know, I'm just having this and that, and then you go home and you're just like, hey, babe. Yeah, you know, you sit down and pick up the controller and you're just back in it. And people are like, weren't you complaining about it before? And you're like, yeah, but like, you know.
But she made me dinner, so I'm washing the dishes.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, you know. She treats me good sometimes, you know what I mean?
She made cupcakes, I lick the bowl.
You know? Like, for real though, you know? That's how I describe Destiny to everybody, you know? Like, it's just one of those games that you're like, you know.
Actually been playing it last night with Field Destroy.
Oh, nice, yeah. So, like, it's still a fun game, too. I picked up the new DLC, the Shadowkeep DLC as well.
Yeah, I haven't yet. I've been waiting for it to go on sale.
And I was playing with my friends, and the thing is, like, you get kind of like where you're like, you jump right back into Destiny. It's like you're riding a bike. You're like, I already know this game. But the thing is, I realize I appreciate that they come out with consistent content now compared to before.
Yeah.
To where I feel like I have like a good 20 to 25 hours of content to play still.
I've heard that, first of all, when I jumped back in, because I only jumped back in like 2 weeks ago, I was like, what the heck is going on? I don't know where to go. What are all these markers? Like, we actually finally were hitting the story. Like, we just finished the main Forsaken storyline yesterday.
Oh, nice. There we go.
I've been told, though, ever since they separated from Activision, like Shadowkeep has been really good content, except for the most recent update, which I've been told it's more like a grind fest.
Yeah,
and not really anything new.
That's usually how it is with Destiny at some point.
Then on the PC community, a lot of cheaters.
Oh yeah, of course.
And that's why there's a lot of complaints on the latest update.
Well, that's a given with PC online. Stuff.
Yeah, right. A lot of aimbots, you know.
Yeah,
just like in general.
So you know that could be a hit or miss with that Destiny 3 announcement.
Yeah, Destiny 3. Like I feel like Bungie specifically game planned it to where they can leave Activision, come out with some really good content, come out with Destiny 3 as like their final, like, you know, just cherry on the top for Destiny, and then just hit it clean next generation with a new IP. You know, because I feel like they utilize.
Yeah, that's exactly how I would do it too.
You know what I mean?
You give them a taste of Destiny. It's like, all right, this is cool. Like, people will get excited. Some people will just like, all right, cool, another Destiny game. And then once you get everyone's attention, it's like you hit them with like, all right, this is something new. And then you just, you know, show them something big.
And you carry it into PS5.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like Destiny was like our last generation project. Like, now we're working on something for the future, like our next 10-year project, you know? Because how long do you think these consoles will sit, like, as far as PS5 and the Xbox Series X? Do you think we're going to see them for the next 10 years?
Yeah.
Before next generation? Cause
I do. Well, I mean...
Because when did the PS4 come out? It was 2011, right? Or was it 2012?
I want to say it was like 10 years ago, I want to say.
PS4?
PS4, yeah. It was 2011, right? The holiday?
No, it was like 2013 or 2014.
Was it 13 or 14?
Yeah, because... No, Destiny number...
November 15th,
Destiny came out in 2013.
Yeah, exactly. Because 2013 was when because it released on PS3 and 360, then it released on PS4
was it the
and
2012, 2013 holiday? Was it like that freaking... Before? Yeah, it was. Yeah, because I remember it was like, it's been good now, like 7-8 years.
Yeah.
So each console usually has like a 10-year life?
It's 10-year span,
About a 10-year life.
And they usually phase it out after a few years of the new generation.
Yeah, right? So we got 10 years for Kojima to partner with somebody and give us a Batman game. We have...
I don't see that happening.
Like, could you imagine? You know, if like Kojima's like, I want to do Batman.
Yeah. And then at the end, you know, he's gonna turn out to also be like the Riddler, and Batman was the Riddler, and the Riddler like became Batman in his head.
Next thing you know, we were actually really playing Silent Hill.
Yeah, right. Batman in Silent Hill, and then then they have like Predator show up as a cliffhanger, and you know at the beginning of the next game, the Ninja Turtles come out and help him. You know,
I like it.
I'm okay with all of this.
Yeah. Well, these crossovers happened, so there's a Batman and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. I haven't seen it. I heard it's good.
Came out earlier this year.
Yeah, I heard it's good. I haven't seen it. There was a Batman and Predator movie, right?
There we go.
So that happened. It was a comic book. I remember that. I'm not sure whether the movie was a real thing or was a fan thing, but there was a comic book official. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, right. Because we are down with it. And then we have, like, all this time, too, 10 years for Bungie to give us some good content.
Yeah.
We have 10 years for Scalebound to finally come out.
Yeah, right.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, that's it. We talked about we talked about the last episode. We talked about the last episode how Xbox or Microsoft might announce Heavenly Sword 2 because they have Ninja Theory now, and then PlayStation 5 will in turn in retaliation announce Scalebound because Platinum Games has a better relationship now. So, that'd be hilarious, to be honest.
Like, oh man.
But
big thing clutch.
Yeah.
Super excited.
Speaking of though, I mean, bringing things back. What if they brought back Kevin Butler? I like Kevin Butler.
It's like, Kevin Butler.
Shrink.
Shrink.
What's that gonna change? Nothing.
Oh, the marketing, man. I mean, it was cool with the marketing commercials. Like everyone enjoyed them.
I was telling Tradehold that they need to get like Kevin Pereira. Or they need to get, like, it's just somebody solid, like a good personality. Like, Nintendo just swooped up freaking... Nintendo didn't swoop up. GameStop swooped up Reggie for, like, freaking PR reasons, you know? Like, Sony and Microsoft needs to get there, like... Because, no, Microsoft has freaking Sergeant Nelson. Never mind.
I don't know who that is.
You don't know who Sergeant Nelson is? How dare you? How dare you, sir?
Sorry.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe I just don't recognize the name. I don't know.
Sergeant Nelson. No, yeah, he's like their... He's kind of like their face of marketing where he comes out and he's the one that's just like, hey, this is the new updates on Xbox. Or like, here's the new stuff like this and that. He's always on the dashboard. He does like... know him, no. Yeah, he'd always pop up on the GameStop TV too as well, like, or beforehand, like when before they started restructuring a bunch.
Yeah.
And then like, you would see kind of like Reggie be like, hey, this is like the update from like Nintendo and stuff like that. Cause he was more so the face of Nintendo. And then like, Microsoft doesn't really have anybody, It's like, I'm sorry, no, Sony doesn't really have anybody.
Yeah, because they used to have Kevin Butler.
So you used to have Kevin Butler, but even then too, it's like they need like a good personality, like somebody who's gonna get people's attention.
Didn't they have somebody besides Kevin Butler like more recently?
I don't know their names.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know, but I think it'd be nice for them to bring back Kevin Butler.
No, I can see it. Just in general.
And
marketing plays a big role, Shrink.
Nah, don't believe it.
I do.
Okay, no, marketing does play a big role, but I think...
remember when he first came out to E3 and he made that giant speech for gamers? Everyone loved that, man. That was all over YouTube.
Yeah, but gamers. It's the products that really like...
Oh, yeah, of course.
Like,
but,
right?
Yeah, but you need the message for the gamers, too, you know what I mean? You need someone who like speaks the language. You
don't even need a messenger. You can just have like a really solid picture or like a solid video, and then that'll be like the talk of whatever, like a viral video, and then everyone will just be like, "Oh my god, did you see that video of this person?"
Oh yeah, but that's the thing though. Kevin Butler was a lot of that. Like the viral video, that's part of it, right? That's part of marketing. Like if you have someone who's really good, like a good personality, who can make almost every video, like every other video, enjoyable and viral. Wouldn't that be considered part of that? Because remember when that one E3 that they did, what was it, could have been 2018, where all Sony did was show video games, and how people were just like, there's no talk, no one mentioned anything. It was weird. But then before that, everyone was like, just show us the games. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So...
See, to Shrink's point, like, I know what you mean. Like, it really only takes, like, one good trailer for you to be like, yeah. Because, like, my thing is, like, we even spoke about it before. There's those, like, games that you already know are going to come out for the console. You're just like, we're like, when Xbox comes out, you're already going to see a Forza for it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, like, when these other, like, consoles come out, like, you already kind of, like, assume games are coming out.
Yeah.
I saw that new Assassin's Creed trailer, and I got hyped. I was like, this looks pretty f***ing cool. Especially, like, at that moment, like, where they're, like, raiding, or they're freaking docking onto land, and they're, like, rushing in, they're fighting the Templars. Yeah. And I'm like, this is f***ing cool. And I got hyped up again. I thought to myself, like, you know what? I can do another Assassin's Creed. When 10 minutes before, I was just like, damn. Yeah, I was like, beforehand, I was like, you know what? Like, we're going to get an Assassin's Creed. I'm probably not going to play this one. But then I watched, I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to play this one. Yeah, so it's true. It just really takes, like, one really good trailer. But to your point, too, you do need a personality to be able to kind of, like, just represent the company.
On the opposite side of Distro, when I saw it, I was just like, I shrugged my shoulders. I'm like, if I wanted a Nord game, I'm actually waiting for God of War 2. You know what I mean?
That's true.
And I mean, it looks good, but I just no longer as interested in the Assassin's Creed series as I used to be. But I do still need to play the newer ones like Origins and Odyssey.
So I really liked Origins. I didn't get a chance to play Odyssey. You know, did you get a chance to get in there? Shrink, I know you're an Assassin's Creed guy.
I played all of them. I did like Odyssey more than Origins, so if you get the chance,
Odyssey was better.
I'd recommend it. Yeah.
Nice. There we go.
I mean, yeah, I would say Odyssey's better than Origins for sure.
You see, what's Ubisoft really putting out? Like, you have you have Watch Dogs, coming out. Yeah, they have Assassin's Creed, but we really haven't seen anything new from Ubisoft in a long time, right?
Yeah, they're the ones who are supposed to be working on Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Oh yeah, and then Beyond Good and Evil 2. Yeah, there you go.
Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Like, yeah, it's like where are these games at?
Yeah.
Didn't they make that announcement last year? The Beyond Good and Evil one?
No,
that was earlier this year, right?
No, the first time they made the announcement for Beyond Good and Evil 2,
like 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, it's been a few years. It's actually been a few years. It's not been.
Yeah, but then they released an updated trailer.
Yeah, I think they released an updated trailer. Yeah, but I don't remember when that was.
Right?
You know what? Time flies because the Beyond Good and Evil 2 trailer came out when I was still with the company. Which was about 2.5, almost 3 years ago now. Yeah.
I remember talking to that with people in the store.
Yeah, right? Yeah, being like, oh yeah, that one trailer with the monkey? And you're like, yeah!
It's like, what the heck? Who's that? Yeah.
Yeah, right? No, those games are pretty cool.
Well, what do you guys think about Sony pulling the censorship stuff right now?
I'm so sorry, what was that?
Sony pulling the censorship stuff right now. Because they're censoring some of the lower, smaller games, but...
See, I haven't heard too much on it. What are they censoring specifically? Is it language? Is it just content? Both?
It's a little bit of both. Yeah.
You see, I don't like gaming companies censoring content in general, especially if it's an indie game, because it's an indie game for a reason. You're not trying to put it out to crazy amounts of people. It's an independent developer,
Yeah.
You should be supporting it regardless,
Yeah.
As opposed to where if you see it and it's obviously offensive, then you shouldn't even have supported it to that point.
Yeah. So what they've been doing, I think, especially with smaller companies like PQ, PQ puts a lot of, I think, hybrid games with visual novel and interactivity, quote unquote interactivity stuff, and they'll do the covering up with mist type of thing or clouds and stuff like that.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
So, excuse me. So it's just hey, there's this thing that we don't like, so we're just gonna put this random shrub in front of it.
Yeah, they've been doing that kind of thing.
Huh.
Kind of like how they do with anime when they bring it overseas, kind of thing.
Sort of. They don't do that much with anime, as much as anime with that, unless they are putting it on television, right?
Yeah. There's certain times where anything is let's say NSFW.
Yeah.
And they'll just either just pan over it or they'll just kind of cut that piece out.
Yeah, and I think if I remember right too, with some of these games they've been put out, they actually even cut out certain modes because it's it's
really okay. So that's where I draw the line as a developer, where it's kind of you're taking modes out of my game now. It's kind of I'm taking my game back.
Yeah,
get back. Yeah. It's almost like if you wrote a book and someone was just we don't need this page, we don't need this page, we don't need this page, and it's kind of just bro. Why are you ripping it up?
Yeah, so that's the main criticism right now for Sony, and it apparently wasn't just a U.S. thing, because I think what I've heard was that and it's possible these are just rumors, but I believe that they actually reached overall into Japan, so it's a global thing now.
Oh, okay, so it's in Japan too.
Yeah.
So I was about to say how much crazier don't they have in Japan than we do in the States that they don't censor anything?
I know, man. If Japan is censoring it,
yeah, I was about to say, dude. And then you're coming over to the States and you're giving us some censors,
Well, no, here's the thing. It's only for Sony because some of the games that are also released on Switch are released the way that they should be on the Switch. Mm-hmm. But then they're censored in the PS4 version.
See, weird.
Yeah.
So it's just Sony specifically taking the executive action to start doing these things. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like if you just you go in and you're this God of War is too bloody.
Well, why? Why spend the resources on that?
I know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why not use that money for something else? As opposed to being you know what? We're just gonna put our thumbs down and be nope. Your game is gonna be the way we want.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because my thing is
well, is it developed by Sony?
No, it's not developed by Sony. No. They're like I said, smaller companies like PQ.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'd say unless you sign an exclusivity contract with them where it's hey, our game is exclusive to PlayStation with these conditions, then it's kind of be like, okay, well, I did violate that. You can put the shrub there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You caught me, as opposed to it being like...
I think,
you know?
Well, I think what it is it's a publishing thing because they want more money for selling the games. So like, okay, we want to publish it on Sony, then I guess we have to, or Sony systems, we have to abide by the guidelines. But when we released it on PC, these games have to be released on PC. When we released it on PC and Switch, we don't have to. You know what I mean? And before that wasn't an issue, but now it is. It has been for at least like 2 years or so.
Okay, so like in order for me to put out a game on Sony, I have to fulfill these
conditions,
guidelines, I guess you could say, right? Yeah. Compared to other things.
And I think that's why they've been releasing it, censored. But when they release on PC or Steam and the Switch, they haven't had to do that at all.
It's like they took out the topless scene from Horizon Zero Dawn on purpose, right? I'm just
kidding. I remember following a few developers, and they were just talking about how they didn't want to do the thing for Sony just because of the whole trouble that they were getting with the trophy system. Like, really, I gotta make all these dang trophies and da 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 da. I'm like, they just didn't want to do that part.
They demand, it's like, we need at least 50 trophies for your game. Just like, right? Plant seed, trophies.
Well, no, I assume that I assume they didn't have to have 50 trophies because I've seen some games released with like only 8. But I think they have to have some kind of trophies because that's what players want. I will agree that players do want like trophies and achievements. But Nintendo Switch doesn't have to do it at all,
That's the truth. I feel like with gaming too, it's been a little bit more of an open medium to where, even if your game is super offensive, you can kind of put it out there.
Yeah.
And the worst thing that's going to happen is no one's going to play it.
Yeah.
You're not going to sell it. You're not going to make any money off it. And it kind of just sits out there.
With the company like Sony, they tend to also be, you're opening up to community. So Sony is attaching their name to it when they say, you can buy this game.
That's fair, but the whole thing too is just like if we're talking about just strictly just gaming in general, like as a developer compared to, let's say, if you're like writing a song or something like that, or if let's say you're making a movie, people take that a lot more offensively if you're using like, let's say, like derogatory terms or like visual imaging.
Yeah.
But I've played plenty of games where it's just like, let's say they have like subtle stuff, like if you're playing Wolfenstein, you can put Nazis everywhere in that, make it gruesome, make it like up experiments. You can really get in there and show people some that they're not ready to see. But if I made a movie about that, it's a little more controversial. Yeah. Because then it's kind of like, hey, like, what the are you doing? Like, but you're playing a game, it's kind of, it's a little bit different. But
what it is that when it comes to something, like you mentioned, it depends on the context. Movies, I don't think it's a big deal because either. But as long as it's in a sort of historical context, in the sense that this isn't anything recent.
What if it wasn't, though?
That's what I'm saying. But Wolfenstein is also at the same time. It's not really a recent thing.
To the point. Wolfenstein is kind of just an example I pull out of thin air. But if somebody made a game with like that same setting, wasn't historical whatsoever, you know what I mean? I feel like it would still be controversial, yes.
Oh, yeah.
But not so much as much, to the point where I feel like I said, the worst case scenario is people just don't play your game.
Yeah.
Because I've seen some crazy games on Nintendo.
Oh, yeah.
On the Wii, on the DS. Like, there's that one where it's just like, it's like you're satisfying your babysitter or something like that. It's like rub, smell, and blow or something like that. Where like you use the stylus to like rub, like like something on the pad, and to level up the meter.
And like they had crazy games like on the Vita, that and you'd go like similar.
Yeah, and you would like blow into like the freaking mic port, or like whatever, and it's supposed to be like you're doing something like you know what I mean. And you're sitting there, and you're like, who the hell's buying these things, But what? It's out there, and you realize that they're not selling. But then it kind of sucks that like Sony all of a sudden is going and being like, nope. We got to put bushes here. We got to censor this because our name is going to go on it.
Yeah.
And we don't want, like bad marketing as opposed to where Nintendo is like, it's a game, get it on there.
Yeah.
Like, let's go, So like, I can see why Sony's doing it. Do I disagree with it? Yes.
Yes, I do too.
Like,
I'm the same. Like, I can see why they're doing it, but I disagree with it.
Yeah, I disagree with it,
I get it, but I don't like it.
But I don't like it, because I've seen plenty of games like that where I'm just kind of like, it's all in fun. The main thing is kind of immerse yourself.
And most of the time I'm buying games if it's not exclusive, I'm gonna buy on PS4. But sometimes when I see these games, I'm just like, maybe I should get it on the Switch,
Yeah, right. I know what you mean.
Just so you can get the full content.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's like anything else, usually, I mean, especially if you're a completionist too. Like if I want, for instance, if I wanted a figure, do I want it with the box or without? So most of the time I want it with the box.
Yeah,
you know? So it's like that same thing where it's like, no, I don't want anything like not there that should be there, just in case I want it. You know, even if let's say it's normally a game I don't play, or the mode that they cut out is not something I would enjoy anyways. But what if I want to go back into it? Or like, well, what if I want to check it out? Well, I can't.
You're right.
You know,
you can only get the Zack Snyder cut on Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know.
So it's, at least the option is there. You know what I mean? So yeah. But that's the main criticism right now with Sony. You think they're gonna try to carry that into the PS5? You think that will affect the PS5 at all?
I feel like I don't think it's gonna affect anything realistically, because they already have their heavy hitters. They already have a lot of people that are coming through. But I can see how it can affect their independent community, like their, like the independent developers.
Yeah.
Because Microsoft was the first ones to really come out and be like, hey, we're supporting. They had that whole Project ID or whatever it was.
No, I think Sony did that first.
Was it Sony first?
Sony did that before in, I think, like 1 or 2 years before Xbox did it too with the E3.
Yeah, because they had like the E3 announcement stuff too. But I remember for the longest time, Microsoft still had their like arcade store on the 360 beforehand.
Yeah, but
where you had like all these things before like.
So I remember, I do remember that they had that. PS3
remember they had like Castle Crashers coming out. They had like all these independent things coming out beforehand. Too.
So I know that they had that going on, but there were a lot of indie developers that were complaining about how Microsoft handled it. So that's why they jumped onto PlayStation.
Do you think it'd flip back over now to where they feel more comfortable on Microsoft because they're just like, you know what, no restrictions, do your thing?
Well, so I can see that happening, but I can also see the fact that it's like, we want to get our game sold, we want to get more in more people's hands, and if Sony's doing better, then we should put it over at bring it over to Sony instead. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I can see it being both. And I agree. Ultimately, it probably won't affect Sony too much.
Oh no, yeah. I don't think it's gonna affect them at all, really.
Yeah.
I
think it will affect them a little, but not enough that it will be anything significant.
Not enough to where people will notice. We'll notice because we're more involved in the information. There
are people who boycott Sony for it, and just like anything else, a lot of people who boycott Xbox for whatever reason. So. But I don't think.
I don't think too many games will be affected either.
Yeah.
I think it's more on the. Like the sexual content games and heavy explicit games, and most of the big sellers aren't even like that. So it's only a small community, I would say, that would be affected.
Exactly. It's a very niche thing. So
it shouldn't be too much of a problem, but it's still unfortunate for like those people who kind of like want those things in this platform.
Until they're just like, we can't have nipples on Kratos. Like, we need to, we need this covered up right here. We're going to take out, this game mode.
Imagine a censored God of War.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
How much flavor that would take off.
You can only have 15% blood, hardly any blood, nothing can splatter.
They didn't have any of the sex stuff anymore, but it makes sense because he has Atreus around with him, so.
Oh, yeah, because doesn't he wake up in the second one with, 2 women on him? Or is that the first one? Yeah, he wakes up and it's just like...
in the ship.
In the ship, yeah.
The game the ship.
And it's the first one, and he just walks out. He's just like, what do you want? Oh, man.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right.
But going back before we actually move on. What other games do you think you see maybe they might be announcing that, obviously, of any series that we might already know? Because there's no way to predict a game that we don't know anything about.
Yeah, everything that's my bold prediction is Resistance for sure. If they announce a Resistance, you heard it here first, folks. And then, yeah, right. The only other thing too is like I said, sequels. Yeah, I can see them announcing Horizon Zero Dawn. Mm-hmm. Because it's already been a long time since that game came out.
By the way, have you beaten any of these games, Shrink? Like Spider-Man, Horizon Zero Dawn, or God of War?
Yeah, I beat all of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we gotta do an episode where we talk about possible what they're gonna do in the sequels. But anyways, going back to it.
All right, that'll be fun. You think they're gonna bring back Toys to Life?
Toys to Life.
What do you call that? How they bring the toys to the.
Are we talking Skylanders and
like
freaking
Skylanders
Amiibos
and that Starship thing one, whatever that
Lego
Starship
Dimensions
one was? Lego Dimensions.
Oh, okay, there we go. I don't think
would that be a crazy? Would that be a crazy announcement?
I don't. Skylanders Ultimate.
Would that be Would that be a crazy announcement or a disappointment?
So it would be a great announcement is if they did like a Skylanders versus Smash Brothers, where it's like you brought your amiibos and your Skylanders, and your roster depended on which figures you had.
That would be cool. Great. That would be crazy.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So where it's like it's a bunch of question marks, but as soon as you scan the amiibo or you scan the Skylander, they unlock the character like in the game. And then it's like Skylanders versus Smash. Yeah,
like that sounds like a hyperscan thing. You guys know about the hyperscan?
No.
The hyperscan was a thing that was made by Mattel, and it was during the time when the 360 was out. Basically, it was a little device. It was like a console almost, but you scanned cards of like characters and like abilities, and then you'd be able to play them. But it was terrible.
Oh, okay.
But basically, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, something just like that, and you have like a straight Smash Brothers battle system. Yeah. Nintendo does it, but you just have Skylanders versus Smash, dude. Like, could you imagine that? We haven't had a lot of crossovers like that, like
we don't
back
get
in the
a lot
day.
of crossovers at all.
At all anymore, right? Yeah. Like I feel like that would be the best way.
I always enjoy crossovers. I
feel like that's the only way I would do Toys to Life, or like freaking Disney Infinity. Cool. Like if it was just Toys to Life Battle Royale.
Disney Infinity
maybe Disney Plus Infinity, where it's like a fighter game with like all the old school like Disney Disney shows. Like you have Corey Matthews up in there.
Yes, his special ability is Mr. Feeney.
Yeah.
Oh man. With the Sean as his sidekick and everything.
Yeah. This just goes super random now. This is completely random now at this point.
I'm sold. But yeah, back on it, I feel like it would have to be two the biggest properties, which would probably be Amiibo and Skylander, were probably the two top Toys to Life, right? So it'd probably have to be something like that, where it's like big names, and I feel like that would bring all that back up. But even then too, Toys to Life kind of like died really fast. It just took like this massive just dip where all of a sudden people were just trading in the figures. No one wanted the figures. Like, I mean, it got to the point where it was oversaturated, where you had like 5 or 6 of the same character, but with like just the smallest little variant. It's like this one's holding a crossbow. This one's holding a stick. This one has gold feet. This one has a gold hand. This one's from the future. He's cybernetic and he's see-through. It's kind of like you have all these crazy figures. Where at that point you're just like, oh my god, it was overwhelming.
Remember when there was like a Metroid one with like 2 cannon arms?
Oh yeah, dude. That was the defects, or it was the Peach with the missing leg that like sold for hella money. Like
that's crazy.
What was it? I would love to see them actually finally, which they very likely won't, announce a sequel to Dead Space.
Would you want a sequel or would you want a prequel? Or you've already done some. Like a sequel?
Yeah, I would want a sequel. I want to see where the story continues
where the
from
infection
Dead
goes.
Space 3, yeah. Because of how Awakening or whatever
Did you play any of the ones on like on the OS, like on freaking the touch ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, those ones are fun too.
Yeah.
And there's the one on the Wii is the only one I didn't get a chance to play.
There was
what was it called?
No, not Ignition.
It was the one you're playing as the doctor. It was like a female, and she's trying to escape.
I can't remember the name right now. Yeah.
It's like right before Dead Space happens, basically.
Extraction.
There you go, yeah.
Extraction.
So pretty much, I heard that one was pretty cool, but I played the ones on the iTouch, yeah. And those ones are pretty cool because they were technically kind of like prequels, but from certain people's point of view.
I've even read the books. Yeah.
Okay.
Like Martyr's really good.
Oh dang!
Damn. All right, now we're getting in it. All right, let's see. It's like tell me about this expanded universe.
My bad.
Well, you know what?
My bad.
I mean, the best thing.
About to go to class real quick. Hold on. Let me get my.
The best thing about the Martyr book is that the religion of unitology.
Yeah, of course.
Who was it that they worshipped?
It was the martyr, right?
No. Who was the founder, the quote unquote founder of unitology? I forget his name.
Oh, the bald dude, right? It's like fucking.
No. He's not the founder. He's like a follower. Mm-hmm. But this I was like Praise Altman. Was that the name? Praise Altman?
I forget. I forget.
Michael Altman. Yeah, Michael Altman. Shrink looking up the information for us. Yeah, Michael Altman. So the book is actually about Michael Altman. Okay. And he actually They had found, one of the necromorphs, the gas breather ones, I think it was, in Mexico. Yeah. Somewhere in Mexico. And the whole story is about, and I guess it's going to be spoilers, But the whole story is about how he quote unquote founded Unitology, in which he actually didn't find Unit. Like he didn't found it. He didn't believe in it.
He just spread the good word.
No, he didn't at all. They put it under his name and killed him. They was like, oh, you're gonna be the person we're gonna, say that's responsible for all.
That's why it's called martyr.
Yeah, exactly. So they put it under his name. The government did, and it's how the collaboration between the government and Unitologists. Mm-hmm. But how on the outside they don't actually know that. So on the inside, they were the one who spread this word that Michael Altman founded Unitology, and how he's the one who was like, oh yeah, worship the marker and all that stuff. So, yeah.
You see, I'd like to play a game to where it's like before you're on the Ishimura and they're like bringing the marker like onto the ship. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like maybe play as like a crew member or something like that. Mm-hmm. I feel like it'd be really cool. Because even with that story,
that would be a great scary game.
That would be
right?
I think that'd be a cool one. No, I definitely think that would be a cool one. But the next one I would want is a sequel.
Yes,
because I've been wondering how the heck they would follow up with what happens at the end of Dead Space 3.
It's just
and the DLC specifically. I don't know if you guys played it though.
So I played Dead Space 3 until about maybe like 3/4 of the game.
Okay.
Because I remember I was getting really into the weapon system and like the armor system where you can actually like interchange pieces and like mix what. So that was probably the best part of the game.
It is the best part of the game.
Like when you go through and I can connect like my cutter with like the pulse rifle, and I could just be like, yeah, like it was actually really added to the gameplay, and then when you actually got different parts for your like bodysuit and stuff, and was improving that, it was really cool.
Yeah.
But then at some point, it just lost me with just kind of like I wasn't as immersed as being on like the Ishimura. Because you're on the ice planet and you basically have your partner, but he's like off sometimes, and like at some point
Carver, I think.
Yeah, and then like some point the necromorphs had weapons because it was like when they were first like turning, basically like it was the soldiers that had the guns already, but then they turn and like now they're shooting all randomly and stuff.
Yeah,
it's just for some reason some game came out. I forget exactly what came out that took my attention just completely off it. What came out? I think Gears of War Judgment came out. It was like just around that time to where I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna go over and start playing Gears. Like I'd rather play Gears if anything.
Yeah.
And it just lost my attention completely.
So I mean, a lot of people are saying they don't like this. They don't like Dead Space 3, but I think a lot of the complaints are the universal ammo, which I can see the problem with, because it takes away from the whole survival.
Did they put universal ammo into the game?
Yeah.
It's like okay.
Because you had the different weapons, but they're different attachments and all that.
Yeah, because there'd be times like I have 5 freaking cutter ammo, and then I have like 20 shots left in my pulse rifle that go really fast.
Yeah.
Like, how am I going to kill this guy? Or should I just run? That's the kind of like, to your point, adds to the gameplay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then it also takes away the horror, like, survival part of it. And that's what one of the complaints was. Another one was, there were some people complaining about the story, which was like the high school nature of, Clark, Ellie, and the other guy, I don't remember his name was. The lieutenant or something, sergeant, whatever his name was. But that part was a small part of the story. Like I think the overall story was still very good. So
I need to go back and play through them.
Yeah,
I just remember Dead Space 1 was like probably the last game that really freaking just got me on edge. I was scared. You know what I mean? It's like it's hard to describe. It's not so much pop scares or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it's just like I don't want to go further.
Yeah,
like
it's actually a little bit of both.
Like you're sitting
it was
there
really
like
good at doing both.
Like I like that whole. Honestly. You'll see a shadow and you won't catch it maybe sometimes. But like I remember on some of my other playthroughs, I go back and I'd be like, was that shadow always there? And you see them kind of like turn a corner. And then you open the freaking doors and there's just blood everywhere. And then you see stuff written in blood where it's like cut their limbs off and you're just like, what the f***, And you're sitting there and it sets this ambiance,
Like they made it so that if you're hiding in certain corners, like they'll just come out of the vent that's next to you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and they'll just pop out.
That's not supposed to happen.
Stuff like that. And then at some point, halfway through the game or like 3/4 into the game, it takes this and Shyamalan twist where you're just like, what the am I playing now? Like it's now we're getting into religion, we're getting into government, we're getting into like all this stuff, and then you're like, is this wife even real? You're just like, our girlfriend, and you're sitting there and you're just like, this game is really good, like it was really well written.
I mean, like I think I mentioned it before, where it was like when I first saw the trailer, I was like, oh, dude, this is gonna be a good one, because I'm not big, I'm not super horror, as long as the premise and the it's good, it's interesting. The trailer was, making it sound like you knew all these people, and I guess technically Isaac does. But I thought it would be more like attachment to him, you know what I mean? But then most of the time you're walking through somebody, you're like, I don't know this guy, they didn't introduce him. You read the logs, you see some of the videos, and you're like, I guess technically the in-game characters knew him, but you don't know. But at the same, but then when I was playing, I was like, the ambience though is really good. The atmosphere was really fitting, and it was like a good mix of, to me, Silent Hill and Resident Evil.
Yeah, right.
Because I've always liked Silent Hill, not so much Resident Evil. And I've talked about it before. Resident Evil, a lot of jump scares. Silent Hill, a lot of, it's not jump scares. It's like atmospheric horror where it's you don't know, you don't want to go into that next room. You don't want to check out that locker.
Or it's like there's a little hole in the wall that you can look through.
Yeah,
you don't know what the is in there. Yeah, and you look in there and there's like a bathtub full of something and you're like, what the
It's one of those games where like once you turn it off, you start hearing noises. You know what I mean? Because the game messes with your like mind.
Yeah.
And I think Dead Space did a lot of both. Like it had jump scares, but it was also like a lot of, I don't want to go into that hall.
Or even like once you get off, like there's that one part in Dead Space 1 where you can hear the lady singing.
Yeah.
And she's singing what, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, right?
It was, I think, chapter 4.
Oh man, the kids when like you go to the daycare center.
And it was like you go up there and you see like everything and you're just like, this is up, like that's what I think about the game. It just really set a good setting. And then you find her and she's blind, right? Or like she has like her eyes cut out or something. She has the freaking blindfold on. And then she just commits suicide in front of you and you're just like I was like, I spent the whole chapter looking for you. Like damn. Yeah, but like little stuff like that, I'm like, damn, there's somebody still alive. I need to find out who they are, what happened, and then they just kill themselves, and you're just like, whoa. like...
You know what? We haven't talked about it, but I guess it's also a good time for them to announce Darksiders 4.
Darksiders 4?
Hey, don't laugh. I love that series,
I like how you found a way to just slip that one in.
No, I literally just thought about it. I was just like, I love that series.
Well, we talked about it. They still have to make 4 because of...
No, they will. I'm just saying it would be a good time for them to announce it as a, as a smaller title, and as much as I hate to say that, it is a smaller title.
Yeah,
a smaller title that will be
smaller title with a good following.
Yeah, exactly. So that would be a good one.
Because who's left? I haven't followed the who was the last. Will it be Strife?
Yeah,
right?
Strife.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you'd be playing a Strife. Interesting.
So there, some speculation, and we talked about before about how it might be Devil May Cry like.
Okay. I can see it more of like a hack and slash, like
I do,
action-based game.
But I can also see how they did in Darksiders 1, where there was that part where it was kind of on rails, because you ride on that thing, and while you go into the Twilight Cathedral, you're shooting down.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think they can do a lot more
of a real shooter.
Yeah, I think they can do a lot more of that too for Strife. Okay. So that'd be interesting.
That would be interesting.
A lot of only shooting segments. That'd be cool.
That'd be really cool. I need to go back and play number 2. Go through Darksiders 2.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people would pick that game up in store. They would still come in and they would still request for that game.
Oh, yeah, it was a great game.
Because it was always in the bin where it'd fall under like $14.99 or like $20, and people are like, that's a steal.
That happens to all the Darksiders, unfortunately.
Yeah, right? So like it's one of those games where I stopped playing it, but everyone would come in and just like continue to talk about it. You see, there's a lot of good, titles that they can bring back. So that's why I'm interested to see, like, what's going to be their ratio? Is it going to be mainly just sequels? Is it mainly going to be new IPs? Like, what's really going to come out? And we still haven't touched on it, though. Sega still has an announcement.
Yeah, Sega still has an announcement.
We talked about it, like, we teased at it.
Yeah, we did. Because the thing is, it's going to be on the same day.
Yeah, same day.
So technically, it's going to be released on a Famitsu column. Okay. And they were really, like, hyping it up because they were saying, once we reveal it, because it's exclusive to Famitsu. This interview, it's like once we reveal it, other magazines will come to us and be like, why didn't we get to cover this type of thing? Like it's big, but they're also saying it's not Dreamcast 2 or anything like that. So
they're like, whoa, don't get your hopes up that high.
Yeah. We're not using another system.
We're like, we don't need another Riot.
It's still big, yeah. We're not getting that. But it's not like it's big. It's huge, but don't think we're gonna release a system.
Yeah, right.
Type of thing. And like something like Sega Saturn or Dreamcast Mini is, I think, the way they're hyping it up, I think it's not gonna be that small. You know what I mean?
If they were going to put out a Dreamcast Mini, they should have done it last year. 2 years ago.
No, I wouldn't see that because...
No?
Remember when we talked about Perfect Survey with the NVIDIA Shield Portable? Mm-hmm. I mean, I have one now. I modded it. Dreamcast games are still pretty big.
See, with me, though, like, a gamer that's not going to have one of those specifically, and, like, my Dreamcast is still sitting in storage somewhere, and I don't have a lot of my games anymore, like... I would love to have just a mini that would have, let's say, like Power Stone on there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like throw Shenmue on there, throw Sonic Adventure on there. Throw Soul Calibur on
Sonic
there.
Adventure.
Yeah, like, Sonic Adventures 2. Like,
the OG Sonic Adventure 2.
Yeah. No, because you know what? Yesterday when I was running helping running the game store, mm-hmm. Sonic Adventures 2 was the one that people asked most for.
Nice, yeah.
On both the GameCube and the Dreamcast. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, yeah, no, it was a great game. We don't have it.
Which one do you guys prefer? Do you prefer Sonic Adventure 2 or Sonic Adventure 2 Battle?
I don't... You know what?
Because there are differences.
Yeah, there are. I don't remember the differences off the top of my head, though. Personally, because I guess I'm a little bit more Dreamcast biased, I would say Adventures 2. Regular.
So Sonic Adventure 2 played more so like Sonic Adventure to where... Yeah. You could basically go through the levels. You could play as like Shadow. You could play as Rouge. You could play as Knuckles and everything. You know, Battle. They basically cut out some of the cutscenes and they made it so it's all strictly battle based. So instead of it being like you could either play as like the good side or the bad side. So you can either choose like Sonic and his crew, or you play like Dr. Eggman and his crew with Shadow. So certain levels, like with Shadow, you can actually like sit there and go through and like explore a little bit. And you're actually playing as Shadow, and you can go through and find like your different animals, so you can level up your chows and stuff. Battle, it was just like. Now they're just pitting good side and bad side together. So if you pick the good side, you'd be racing through the areas with a time limit because you're trying to like beat the bad side basically. So you can't really explore. Yeah. They took out that element from Sonic Adventure to where you could actually like run around the map and like collect those little pods and get like, you know, ring bonuses and stuff like that. It was all strictly just like...
So I picked the right choice.
Yeah, it was all strictly like time trial or like get from point A to point B. It's like more of like a Sonic racer kind of like... You know, you're racing down the rail, but now Shadow's coming, you know, and like you're supposed to beat him to the end point. Yeah. Like they did have that in Sonic Adventure 2. Like it was still an element, but they took away a lot of the actual like exploration. Yeah. You know, the cutscenes, more of the story. Like, you know, it just didn't feel as full. Yeah. And I can be biased too, because I'm a Sega guy too, so like...
So they basically Sony'd it, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they basically Sony'd it, thank you, yeah. You know, exactly. You know, yeah. So that's why I love Battle. I can still play Battle, but I prefer the OG.
Now, I would like a Dreamcast Mini for that exact reason. I actually I have a Dreamcast, a Hello Kitty edition right over there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty hard to find one. And I got because when they released the Hello Kitty one, it's in Japan. They had a pink and a teal one, or greenish teal, and I have the teal one. And
nice.
You know, the pink one would be nice, but the teal one would be pretty dope. You know, So I have that one, yeah.
Yeah, because those are some of the games I was always asking, you know, like for like as far as like, you know, the game shop, you know, that you're at.
Yeah.
Like I know I saw you guys post about like, you know, you had Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver.
Yep.
Like, where is that game at? How come they haven't done like a Soul Reaver or anything?
That's
like
a good
that?
one.
Like,
yeah, that's a good.
You know
what
I mean?
Yeah,
like, imagine if they came out with the Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver.
There we go. Another Legacy of Kain like Soul Reaver game. Yeah.
That would be dope. You know,
the Razio, yeah.
Yeah, like I saw a lot of the stuff you guys had. You know, like a lot of those older titles. I'm like, oh man, why aren't people asking for these games still? You know, yeah, because like those are even if they put Soul Reaver on a Dreamcast Mini, like, oh man, that would be.
See, so as much as I would like a Dreamcast Mini, I feel like they should also have a Sega Saturn Mini because there's so many games that people missed out on because of the terrible marketing of it back then. That were great games. But I feel Dragon Force, Panzer Dragoon.
They have great games, but then like, all right, so if we get into that, like they do the Sega Saturn Mini. It didn't sell, like Sega Saturn in general didn't like sell really well, and their games didn't sell really well because of terrible marketing and stuff. So would you think people would come and like?
I think so because you know, Funko Land and I have talked about it. It's during this age right now that people are going back, especially us, like you know, that were born in like 80s to early 90s. We're going back and we're buying those. Yeah, fever. Exactly. We're going back and we're going back and we're buying.
The people who have money have nostalgia.
Yeah,
we must provide.
We have that money now.
If there's ever time to put out the Saturn Minis now, right?
Yeah, we're revisiting those games, especially because Panzer Dragoon Remake also just released. And so we're going back and we're playing those games. And there were a lot of people who were like, Sega Saturn was a great system, but, you know, we opted for PlayStation 2 or PlayStation 1, I guess, at the time. So it was just, you know, yeah.
You know what? I appreciate you, Trade Hold, just keeping the Saturn alive. You brought up the Saturn, I think, at least once on every pod. It's our daily Sega Saturn plug. No, I'm just kidding. But like, I feel like with Sega, yeah, they need to capitalize on the Saturn, the Dreamcast.
But again, the way that they announced it, it doesn't sound like it's going to be. I think if they're saying it's such a big scale announcement that it's not. It sounds like it's bigger than some kind of mini system. You know what I mean?
Shadow Adventure.
So there's some theories that
bring back Knights.
Yeah, right, dude. Oh yeah, what's their prop back Knights, dude?
Knights,
yeah,
what they did for the Wii.
Yeah, but now, but now, dude, somebody traded in Knights one time, and I was sitting there, and I was like, you're getting rid of Knights, and they're like, yeah, I was like, I might buy this right now.
But dude, did they make a Knights VR?
No, great. That would be great too. Yeah,
Knights VR.
That'd be pretty cool. Yeah,
that would be a visual experience for sure.
But so there's a lot of theories about what Sega will be announcing, and some are saying that because they're gonna release it on Famitsu interview, which is the same day as Sony's announcement, that they're trying to upstage Sony in a way, or rather they aren't, but Microsoft is, because what
if it's something with Sony? That's why it's saying.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. So that's a few theories. The one is that is Microsoft maybe trying to upstage Sony,
trying to swoop real quick,
because the announcement might be that they're gonna buy out Sega, which I don't think is gonna happen.
Yeah, there's articles saying that there's a low chance that they're
Sega. Because the thing is, Sega had been on the rise ever since basically Sony plugged them more or less, helped them out, and they've been making a lot more money nowadays. So they're too big of a company for Microsoft, who can afford to buy them if Sega was selling, but Sega's probably not selling. But it's probably too big of a company that Microsoft would want to buy. So that's likely not happening, but there is another theory that they are collaborating, and how they're doing that is that they would rebrand the new Xbox Series X as a Sega console in Japan.
I could see it, but that's kind of like almost because Sega's huge in Japan. But how would that affect like Xbox's presence in Japan at all? You think it would enhance it? Kind of like. Yes. This is the premier console to play Sega. Is what you're saying?
I think it would do better for Xbox if they were partnered with Sega in Japan.
Well, I think it would help. Yeah, exactly. Because Xbox has always been known for low sales in Japan. Like it doesn't compete as high as Sony does. But Sega's, like you said, Distro said, has a really big presence in Japan. And honestly, Europe has a pretty big Sega following. Like, Europe fans are better fans than Americans are when it comes to the Sega. So, if Xbox were to rebrand as a Sega console in Japan, I could see that helping both parties, because it would just increase. It would just be like, oh damn, Sega has a new console, even though it's Xbox. And for Xbox, it would help with sales. And on top of that, it's not really it's not a bad PR thing against Sony either, because it doesn't cut into Sony in any way, really, other than kind of the console war thing. But Sony does well on its own,
Yeah, right. There's always been kind of like those little jabs that they take at each other.
Yeah.
There's always kind of been
a lot more playful now, except for the fans. The fans are the ones who take it more seriously.
Yeah, it's a lot more playful now than it was like in 2012, 2013. Yeah. People were getting salty.
Because that was console war.
It was console war.
It's still console war, but it was console war launch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially, and it was just, hey, to be fair, Sony was just capitalizing on the fact that Xbox was like, oh no, digital only.
Game sharing was.
I can imagine that like behind the scenes where it's like, yeah, we're gonna do it digital only, and Sony's back here like, okay, cool, and in the head they're like, oh, you stupid.
Remember, I bet you it only took them like 20 minutes to film that little 10-second video where it's just like, this is how you share games on PlayStation. It's just like, hands it over. No, here you go.
I swear they ad-libbed it, dude. I swear they ad-libbed it. Like, after they made that announcement.
They were like, we need a white background, just generic, I'm just going to hand you a game, you're going to smile and give me a thumbs up. It looked like they
were in the back room.
Honestly, the filming of it probably took less than like 10 minutes.
That's what I'm saying. No,
and then like just putting the video together. Like
splice it together,
just making the video, like including the filming was probably 20 minutes.
I remember when I saw that, I was like, yeah, that's Sony's mic drop right there.
Yeah, it is.
I was like,
it was just damn. Like everyone watched it, I was like, oh damn, Sony just did it.
Sony went there.
That wasn't a jab, that was a haymaker. Like
I know. And I think Shuei was in it too.
Yeah, he was.
He was,
It was a Shuei and it wasn't Sean, it was Andrew. Was it?
That guy's always had E3 that comes out. Forget his name.
There was an Andrew something. What I remember.
Other dude.
It was hilarious.
Oh man, yeah.
It's like, hey, Shuei, can I play that game? Sure.
Yeah, right. Yeah, just hands it to him. Yeah, and they look back at the camera, just smiling. You know, kind of like.
But yeah, another thing is that because people are saying it's almost a simultaneous or same day at least announcement, that it might be Microsoft trying to upstage Sony in a way, but I think it could also be a Sony and Sega thing.
Could you imagine if Sony just took Sega? They didn't buy him, but it's the same to your point where it's just like, you know what, Sega is now the official, like, or Sony's PlayStation's the exclusive place for Sega now.
So Sony, well, I doubt that too, but I think Sony has been more collaborating with Sega for a bit, especially like, for instance, they brought Yu Suzuki on stage for that for E3 2015, which was a great announcement. That was a great E3, man. I was there for that. Anyway,
I was there for that.
I was there for that. That was awesome. But I mean, there was that, and the fact that when they brought that localization team, it was like, hey, we're gonna try to bring over games that fans want, you know, because some companies don't have the localization, like, you know, fees to cover.
What you think it's like PSO 2?
Like Yakuza 5. Yakuza 5 was a Sony help when they made that localization subsidiary. They helped bring Yakuza 5 over because people were petitioning for it for like 2 years, and it finally happened. So, yeah. So I don't think Sega wants to tarnish their relationship with Sony right now, but I don't think so. Obviously, they probably wouldn't be like want to, you know, be bought out by Microsoft. But I do think it could be something that could also help out Sony. Like, it could just be like, oh yeah, I don't know the hours. I don't remember the hours with the announcements, but it could be something like, oh yeah, Famitsu just released it on June 4th, and it's June 4th in Japan. So it could be technically even the day before, more or less, for us when it comes to the PlayStation 5.
It's always rough. It's like when they do the Nintendo Directs Japan time, and it's like 6 a.m.
Yeah.
You're like, damn.
So when Famitsu's article released, it could be something Sony related, and then it could also be a part of that Sony trailer.
Okay, I can
or
see
a stream or whatever they're doing.
I bring up Sega. I tell people, I was like, oh, it's I just got a text about a Sega announcement, and they're like, what is this, the 80s? I'm like, damn. They're like, Sega's still going? I'm like, yeah, of course.
Yeah, dude, Sega's still going.
Yeah, but like just talking to just your average person, you know, like just your basic gamer, they're just like, I don't care about Sega. You know, like if I tell them, they're just like, hey, Microsoft's, you know, gonna be like the
we have to see, that's the thing.
Sega console in Japan, they'd be like, and I'm in America.
Cashwrap has to be part of the next time we talk about this. But I've said before, we need to do a segment on this. The major video game influential companies.
Oh yeah,
Sega's definitely one.
Oh, Sega's for sure. You know, Sega's part of my childhood.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Sega's still part of it, but obviously not as, you know,
not as much as, you know, nowadays. But like, I remember even like I can still go with my friends and being like, yeah, we used to play on Sega consoles. You know, kids nowadays can't say that they're playing on Sega consoles anymore, right? You know, like,
speaking of, I was just gonna say, what if the Xbox or Microsoft Sega
the Microsoft Sega?
No, it's like, what if this
Microsoft Sega.
No, what I'm just saying, like, what if this, assuming this is the collaboration theory, what if they announced a portable system?
A Sega portable?
Yeah, a Sega portable in collaboration with Microsoft, because Microsoft has never had a portable system, has never had a handheld system, as far as I'm aware.
Is it too late in the game for Microsoft to have a handheld system?
No,
probably
I don't think
not. Just because with the success of the Switch.
Yeah.
But, like, I feel like they would have a hard time in selling one of those
They
things.
would have to have a lot of good exclusives.
I think that's why Sony's kind of been, like, more focused on VR and other things as opposed to their PS Vita system or, like, anything like that.
Yeah.
Because they've already tried it. They're already seeing exactly where their audience is.
How to market the thing is, though, they tried it for how many generations? Because they did PSP, technically the PSP Go was
the PSP Go, I was about to say,
and then they had the Vita. And so they tried for a while.
Is it not working in Japan? I thought they were doing well in Japan.
They're doing well in Japan.
It's well in Japan always. Yeah. Because they're more for, like, they do really good at JRPGs. Yeah. A lot of, like, RPGs that are exclusive in Japan to the Vita.
So I wouldn't say it's too late. Remember how we talked about Nintendo sometimes like to sit back and see how other companies do it before they do it themselves, and they do it right, you know, type of thing. So I feel like Microsoft right now would also be a good time if they want to partner with Sega and create a portable system. We'd be like, okay, we've been watching this handheld, you know, war go for a while. Let's see what we can do with it, type of thing.
Do you think they'd go with the Switch model where it's like removable controllers, like a docking system,
No.
Or you think it'd be just a straight Game Boy like style?
I think it's gonna be more because they have the Series X, right? So I don't think they like if it's in conjunction with the Series X, then it might be a completely different portable system that you can play games
it's like a remote play option,
on the Series X as well.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll do like a VR anywhere kind of thing.
Well, no, I don't think Microsoft was focusing on VR at all, though.
Yeah, right. Because they had made that announcement that they were trying to partner with Google Glass, right? But then that never happened.
Yeah.
And then like they were trying to do a bunch of stuff with like Minecraft and freaking Mojang, but then that also didn't really happen. Didn't really go the way they wanted to. So I feel like they said, you know what, we're just gonna give that to Sony for the meantime.
Yeah.
Like I said too.
Let's do what Sony couldn't. Let's like upstage Nintendo and their handhelds.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, yeah, I could see that. Would I be excited for a Microsoft handheld?
Well, if people were thinking,
maybe
not so much.
If they,
depending on what it can do.
Yeah,
depending on what it can do.
Here's
exactly.
the thing: is if they're really focusing on cloud-based stuff like games and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. What if they were like creating some kind of on-the-go system where you can play connected online? And think about it: if you can play Halo anywhere you wanted to.
So you're saying like a portable Shadow, something like that?
Yeah.
With no latency issues or anything like that. Like it was just clean.
Yeah. But of course they would probably have to work with some kind of data like company too, or either that or have, players. Well, it could also be part of their PlayStation or Xbox Live system.
That's true too, or even like Game Pass and all that stuff too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they can just implement it so where you can just download straight from Game Pass to your device or anything like that.
And they can have like a program where you're paying for on the go like data. Like using LTE towers or what's the 5G? With that technology coming out. Or with the crazy people that are saying that it's a mind control thing, but whatever.
Yeah, right there. It's all mind control. But yeah, no, I feel like Nintendo's going to have their foot on the freaking handheld's neck, like company's neck.
Oh, they have that already.
They're going to have it for a long time.
Yeah, they are. You'd have to do something. Always have. I mean, you'd have to do something pretty bold. I think that'd be pretty bold.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it'd have to be really like a bold move. Exactly. Yeah. Because no one's messing with Nintendo right now when it comes to handhelds.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that was their mic drop right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like, boom.
Yeah.
Especially with how well Animal Crossing is doing right now, too. Like, people are demanding switches.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, if they were to do something where it's on-the-go multiplayer, that'd be cool. That would be pretty crazy. That's a seller, honestly.
Yeah, because the Switch focuses more on local play.
Exactly.
If anything, yeah.
I mean, Animal Crossing is...
Yeah, still has that element, but unless you're connected to Wi-Fi or something.
Exactly. Yeah, but like when Nintendo does things online, it's never really
exactly. That's the thing.
Like great.
Xbox is, as biased as I am towards Sony, Microsoft is much better at the multiplayer online stuff.
Because I like their service. Yeah, Xbox Live is a good service.
Exactly. They're for the most part they're a much better service like overall. So, like I feel like if anyone can do something handheld online, could be
Microsoft. That makes a good point too. Yeah.
But if it was Sony related, what do you guys think it would be?
If it was Sony related,
like no, it was something huge. Like
if it was Sega Sony collab.
Yeah, because they were saying it's a huge announcement.
All right, going for a shrink.
Maybe it's a crossover. Maybe it'll be a crazy crossover that we're not expecting.
I think that's pretty small announcement because. I mean, Sega games.
What if it's? They said it wasn't going to be groundbreaking, right? It's not a new console.
No, they say it's not going to be on the level of. Well, not. They just said it's not going to be anything like a Dreamcast 2.
It's a hype announcement, but it's not going to be like you say like something that's going to be groundbreaking.
But they said it's something like other magazines would be like, why didn't you let us cover this? Why was this exclusive to Famitsu, type of thing. And like, you know what? It's funny too because I think I was talking to Distro about this. But what if they said it's not going to be a Dreamcast 2 or anything like that, and they specifically meant it's not going to be a Dreamcast 2. It's going to be a new system with a different name.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Low key, like it's
that.
Not Dreamcast 2. No, it's like the Phantom Genesis.
Yeah, there you go.
The Phantom.
It's just a completely different console.
The Dream Genesis.
Yeah,
like something crazy.
No, there's no way they could unless they were really developing some kind of console like deep in the cuts where like nobody leaked anything.
Well, again, like they said, like because this has been really on the down low only for Mitsu. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Only for Mitsu.
Or the announcement could be that they're breaking ground on a new console.
Yeah.
Like they're maybe not hitting this gen, but they're going to try to catch it. You know, maybe like towards the end or something. You know.
Yeah.
Or like come late to the game.
Yeah, like come late to the game, but with fire. You know, yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Like with the. Oh man.
Exactly.
I mean, that'd be pretty cool.
What if it was their own PC service, like Epic did and stuff?
Do they have any games to support that?
A launcher?
Well,
they're gonna have their own launcher.
Yeah. I mean, they technically do. They have all of their own IPs.
Yeah.
That they can make exclusive to their own.
But
I think they're just gonna bring back an IP. I think that'll be their groundbreaking.
You think that's gonna be their groundbreaking?
It's gonna be a new Jet Set Radio.
Yeah.
Or it's gonna be like Sonic Adventure 3.
Because of the success of like Streets of Rage, they're gonna bring back Golden Axe or something like that, or Altered Beast.
They tried to bring back Golden Axe for 360. It didn't do too well.
Oh yeah, that's right. They did have a Golden Axe remake kind of thing, huh? All right, yeah, maybe Altered Beast will come up. You just gotta go through all of them.
You just gotta go through all of them.
Yeah. We haven't had a Shinobi for a while.
Oh, that's true. Shinobi Ninja. Yeah,
Ooh,
yeah. We had a PS2 Shinobi. I think was the last one.
I'd be down for like a new console though.
I'd be down for a new console as well.
If they really kept that in the wraps, that'd be crazy.
We were talking about before, like really all you need is just a solid set of launch titles. You know, like to your point too, like the GameCube came late to the game, but would they come with Super Mario Sunshine, The Wind Waker, Luigi's Mansion? You know, like you had like
because Shrink wasn't here with it when we talked about good launches. Nintendo's really good at doing good launches, but so did Sega. Sega did pretty good launches too. Like when Kolinsky joined like Sega of America, and he was like, no, we're gonna launch a Sega Genesis with Sonic. That was a console seller right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, I really think Sega would just have to come through with like a brand new ass IP that they bought and stole from Sony and Microsoft. Like they got it first.
Well,
they bid for it first.
Let's say they announced like
Sega takes Metal Gear from Konami.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, they make that freaking and sign a deal with Kojima.
That could be it, though. To be honest, but if they had like their own launcher for PC, they could have like a pretty good. Let's say we're gonna have Sonic Adventures 2. We're gonna have all those games on the Sega Dreamcast, like all ready for PC. Yeah. And then they announced like their own like launch titles for it.
If they brought back like Power Stone, Power Stone 2,
I feel like that's
they launch a subscription service to like Sega games.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's almost a little bit bigger than the Mini.
I think I wouldn't pay for a Sega subscription service. I'd have to really love Sega, and I love Sega.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe not subscription.
I have to really love Sega. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, if it was, depends on how much it costs. But if you had access to for instance, the Sega Saturn library.
How much we're talking? How much we're talking?
The
most I would pay for a Sega service,
like $5
for a year. Like $5, yeah, 5 to 15, 15 max. I'm telling you, you're hitting me with like everything.
A year
for like a year, yeah.
Dude, $5 easy, yeah. But are they gonna do that for $5 a year? No. How would you do $5 a month?
$5 a month? No. I would just pay for the month I wanted.
I don't know if you love Sega that much, then.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, no, I'd pay for the months that I wanted to play.
Like honestly, if they were charging $5 a month for Sega Dreamcast, Sega Saturn, Sega Genesis, all like the Sega CD, especially some of those Sega CD games, they're expensive. I might consider it because I'm like, if I can play,
I feel like when it comes to those things, it's kind of like you pay the subscription, right? You play the games you want to play, you hit it, and then like when there's nothing in the library or you don't feel like you're gonna play next month, you just kind of like drop it.
Yeah,
like when PlayStation Now came out. I was like, oh, cool, there's a bunch of games, right? So it's like, all right, played it. I don't see anything else here. And then drop the subscription.
Yeah, but
then you're done with it.
Most of the people, because there's still people on PlayStation Now, most of the people probably won't pay attention to the fact that it's only $5 a month if they were go that route. Because they might just look at the library and go, well, I only wasted $5 and I still want to play this game, but I don't have the time this month, And so I'll keep it on there.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, what was great about the PlayStation Now was like, even though you played it on whatever, like you played it on PlayStation Now, because the save file went to the cloud. If you actually got that game, and then like played it in your PS4, you could get the same save file. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess is that all we have when it comes to Sega?
Yeah, I think we're getting to that point too. We can start, pumping the brakes a little bit, start wrapping it up.
Like, because we mentioned VR, like Kickstarter, because remember Oculus was a Kickstarter.
I'd say a Sega VR has got me sold. If I could be point of view Sonic and Sonic Adventure, or if I could be like in point of view and like Jet Set Radio, or like Crazy Taxi VR, dude, would be fun. Mm-hmm. Stuff like that. But that's my main thing. I want a new console announcement, VR announcement. Or just this awesome new Sega IP, or they're bringing something back. Like, that'd be really cool. That's what I'm hoping for.
What else was there for bringing something back? I guess Shenmue's already back.
You think they're just going to move? They're just going to say, "Oh, Phantasy Star Online 2, it's on the PS4 now. You can go get it."
because is it even on the Xbox? I mean, is it even on Xbox yet?
No.
I know they announced it for Xbox.
Yeah, it's on Xbox and Microsoft.
No, is it actually released? That's what I mean.
Yeah. You can,
it is released.
You can download it. You can play it all in English.
Okay. Yeah, I know this. That's probably got at least be a 1 year exclusive, though.
Mm-hmm. Timed exclusive.
Yeah, it's timed exclusive. So I think that's way too small of an announcement.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was just gonna mention like Kickstarter, because Oculus started off as a Kickstarter thing, and we totally gotta talk about a Kickstarter or Kickstarters in general sometime. They have that. I'm actually semi excited. Actually, was it today? No, it's tomorrow. The live stream they're gonna have for Unsung Story. I don't know if you guys know about that one.
No, I don't.
Unsung Story. Oh, this was.
Is it the sequel to Last Story?
No, this was a disaster of a Kickstarter, because what happened was, the Kickstarter was originally by Playdeck, and what they did was they raised the funds. They said that the director of Final Fantasy Tactics was going to be directing it, and they had all these big name on it, and then they had this like cool system which was like concept at the time. And then they basically took the money and used it to produce another game.
No.
And then they stopped updating their like backers and stuff. And so eventually a company called Little Orbit took over. And they go, we're not even going to ask for extra money. We're going to revive this like dead project. And we're going to, and before they were known for doing like, I think the biggest thing that they did was like a Hello Kitty mobile game or something like that. And so to me, I was just like,
this is their way to break out, right?
Yeah. That's why I'm thinking that's why they took over, because they're like, we're gonna even, we're gonna make sure that everyone who backed for extra stretch goal stuff are gonna get it, even though they're not getting additional funding. Like they got less than I think a quarter of what Playdeck raised from the Kickstarter.
Oh damn! Okay.
Like yeah. And they're going to do it all. And I'm just like, and they've been communicating with their backers. It's been a few years now since the game was supposed to be released. I think it was supposed to be released in like 2016 or something. But I think tomorrow, or I guess June 1st, just depending on when I can get this uploaded. But June 1st, they're going to have a live stream of it. And I'm like, I want to, even though they have no way of backing it now, I'm like, I kind of want to now. Just because it's like, I appreciate what these guys are doing. They're trying to revive this dead project with their own funding mostly.
Yeah, you're like, I can get behind this.
Yeah, and still trying to get, the extra rewards to, old backers that they weren't even responsible for. So that's dope,
That is really cool.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, we were at the end of it.
Yeah, right.
I see Distro checking his watch.
No, I just got a message. I put everything on silent, and then I just feel the watch going off. Like, I'm like, what's happening? I realize I'm in a group text. I'm like, oh, okay, that's what's going on.
But yeah, we should be. I guess we're wrapping it up.
Yeah, I say, we got to close the gates. We got to get Shrink the hell out of here. I don't know why we kept him in the store for so long, but he's got to go.
Yeah, he's not employed here anymore.
Yeah, right. He's not employed here anymore. Yeah. No, but thanks everybody for joining us.
See how they treat me.
You see how they treat me.
Well, you deserve that treatment for not listening to our podcast.
It's recorded.
No preparation coming onto our podcast. He's just like, I don't know anything about these guys.
Yeah, we're gonna stick him in the back. He's gonna be resetting consoles for the next few hours.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. My goodness.
All right, Shrink. Final words. Give us your favorite animal and give us one of your deepest, darkest secrets.
Oh my gosh, deepest, darkest secret.
Animal first.
Okay, animal first. See, the first thing that came to my mind was dragon, just because of the new villager that I got in Animal Crossing. But it's a crocodile dressed as a dragon, so I guess it would have to be a crocodile. As far as the deepest, darkest secret,
you played Dead or Alive Extreme 3 and liked it.
I did. The beach volleyball was my jam. beach volleyball was my jam, and I kicked it to Lesso.
There we go. I like it.
All right.
With that,
sounds good.
We'll close it up.
All right. Thanks everyone for listening. Have a good one. Power to the podcast.
Power to the podcast.
Power to the podcast.